Okay. Pisces, what is going on, guys? Okay, what is happening? I know. How did I just go from that kind of like weirdly sounding voice to this? Well, hey, I can do what I want. But seriously, Pisces, what is going down, y'all? Okay. The underlying energy here is the Six of Pentacles. Okay. So there's a give and take aspect, the balance, harmony, you know, evening the odds again. You know, this is also giving, and this is the Two of Cups underneath here. So this is about the relationship. Definitely is a balance needed in this relationship that's definitely necessary. All right. This whole reading is going to be about balance for the relationship altogether. Now, in the past, your current state of being is the Lovers. So there is definitely love in this connection. Love, and I feel like there is this close connective tie for everybody. Okay. Lovers just talks about love, right? You love what you love. The illusion of distance, the illusion of choice. Right? You don't choose who you love who you love. And then sometimes you may end up loving more than one person. Not saying that this is a third party situation, but what I am saying is that this is the basis of love, right? It's just the freeness and openness of love. It usually shows the illusion of distance, even though they're holding hands. But, you know, this, you know, the deck doesn't necessarily portray that right away. It does. But your desired outcome is death, which is just very interesting. You're in a you're in a place where you guys are, you know, currently, you know, I don't want to say focus on love, but it's more of like there's a lot of emphasis on the romance, a lot of emphasis on the connection, a spiritual connection, of course, of all sorts. And you have here the Death card coming up, which talks about releasing something being put to death, ending. Not necessarily like an actual relationship or anything like that. It could usually be of some things, old attachments, some sort of like, you know, past disappointments, things like that. Things that are no longer relevant, no longer help push you forward. They kind of hold you back. It's like it's like having a mattress in a room already, and you wanting to buy a new mattress. You have to get rid of that other mattress in order for there to be a mattress in that room, right? Same principle, same kind of thing. And I feel like there is just this desire to want to make room for something, make room for new things to come in. Okay. But the thing that's keeping you from being able to have this new thing, to be able to, you know, explore and to have a rebirth, is the Seven of Swords. It's just about taking a risk, doing something that's uncomfortable. And it might be because of the Knight of Swords. Okay. The Knight of Swords could be somebody that's a Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, but it really kind of talks about knowing what you want, going with how you feel, right? If it's anything relevant to who you are, if it resonates with who you are, really. Okay. So it could be that there's a situation here with, you know, with taking a risk and doing something that you want to do, maybe stepping outside of your comfort zone for a second to execute something that you truly want. Because perhaps in the past here's the thing, the Knight of Wands could be anybody, right? It could be you, it could be somebody you're dealing with. I don't think there's a lying situation though. I do think there's perhaps avoidance though, because it's not necessarily exactly what you want, right? Or maybe there's somebody here that's avoiding the situation altogether. I'm going to go ahead and pull for this because this one's a little bit interesting. So you have the Lovers here, you have death is your desired outcome, but then you have the Seven of, see, this deck is about to piss me off. See, it just keeps sliding all over the place. This is the thing with this deck. But oh my gosh, can you just stay? Thanks. Yeah, but then you have the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Wands as the reason why you have the Seven of Swords is the blockage. I mean, we're going to come back to this actually, because the rest of the reading will kind of help explain what this actually is trying to say, because there's a lot of possibilities of what this could mean. It could be that you're trying to take a risk because this, you know, before it was something that was fun, it was very, you know, enjoyable, and now it's not. Now it's something that's a lot more serious and puts you in a very uncomfortable situation, which is why you have death in your best path to follow. Excuse me. it could indicate that, you know, the relationship has kind of gone sour, right? It could be that the situation makes you feel more trapped, because the Knight of Wands is very opposite, is very opposing to this energy with the Devil. Yeah, it may be fun, it may be exciting, right? It may be that the situation perhaps just got really serious, and it made you feel as though there's not a lot of, you feel disempowered in this connection now. This is talking about finding your truth, finding your power, finding who you are through a situation that may not feel like you can. Because right here with the Four of Cups, you don't feel very, you feel very apathetic with this. You don't feel like you don't really want to do. You don't care about it. You're like, this is giving me no sort of pleasure, no joy. This is the same old mess. I just don't. Yeah, there's a connection here, sure. But what the give and take is messed up. The balance of the situation is not exactly up to par, right? I think somebody may have not been doing their due diligence, and now the fun of the relationship is now somebody else taking care of your stuff. You taking care of someone else's responsibilities. You know what I mean? And it could be that there's some sort of behavior or some sort of pattern as well that needs to be changed, which is why death is coming up. Perhaps it's a change or desire to do something differently, based off of, the balance that's going on in the relationship. Perhaps there's too much giving. Perhaps you're giving too much right now, Pisces. Perhaps you're taking care of someone else's stuff, or you're doing something for someone else, or you're handling certain things for someone else, and they need to just deal with it on their own. You know what I'm saying? It could be that right now you have an individual that's not reliable, and they're not really taking it seriously because you're handling it for them. Which can lead to be like, well, there's no fun anymore. I don't see the fun. The Three of Cups is what you're looking for, is like fun, but the cup is right behind you. Perhaps it's just leaving it behind. That's what needs to be done. Taking up a new idea, a new principle, a new truth, which is this Ace of Swords energy. I feel like the hopes and fears with the Seven of Cups is actually not a bad card, because it tells me that perhaps you want to escape into a fantasy. Well, I mean, because here's the thing. Escape into a fantasy can be nice. It can be fun. But honestly, it can get in the way of this. It can get in the way of trying to get some sort of balance, some sort of clarity. Running away and escaping may not actually be your best bet. Even though your ruling planet is Neptune, and the planet of Neptune talks about disillusionment and escapism and things like that. This is probably not the right thing to do right now. Honestly, perhaps looking at what's wrong, what's messed up, will actually help you regain balance in your life. Now, I'm not saying that you guys escape or anything like that, but I feel like there's a situation, the Seven of Swords, where there is not a lot of looking at the situation for what it truly is. Like, there's certain things that someone else can do, and then there's certain things that you can do. And I feel like there is a part of this where there's going to need to be like a recognition of what you're doing, so that way you can correct the certain behaviors that's messed up in the relationship, right? That may not be working for you, right? If someone else is doing this, so you do that, is that something you should be doing? Probably not, right? At the same time, it's like they're responsible for their own stuff. You got to be responsible for your stuff, right? So that's the whole thing with the balance. Someone wants to have a party all the time, and the power goes out because they don't pay the bills. You got that's at that point you got to figure out if this is something you want to deal with. Somebody that can't really be reliable, can't be shipping in their 2 cents. You know what I'm saying? If they don't ship in their 2 cents, then you can't be in it, right? You don't want to. You don't have to. You don't have to pick the slack for somebody because you want to be with them. If you want to do that, you can. But you don't seem like you're very happy here because you want death in your outcome. So, I mean, I was going to clarify the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Swords, but I feel like I figured it out with all of this. Because something here is just like, something is being avoided hardcore. Something's not being looked at. Why? Because somebody's not reliable. Somebody's doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Now, these two cards together can be really good. Actually, these three here, this nice little crescent I've got going on here. Devil, Knight of Wands, Seven of Cups. This person is fun. This person is loving to be around. Like, they are exciting to be around, okay? But they can't. They don't know how to be practical. They don't know how to be serious. Yeah, it's great that they, that they feel something for you and you feel something for them, but that's not enough apparently, right? And it is okay for that not to be enough. You want somebody to be able to just go ahead and say, you know what, let me go ahead and do what I need to do so that we can be, we can be solid. But here's the thing, it's the Two of Cups talks about both parties in their right doing something that misaligns the whole relationship. I'm not saying that this is your to blame, of course, but whatever they're doing, you may have to you can't control someone from doing something differently, right? We all understand that, right? So the only way we're going to be able to do something to improve the relationship is to change ourselves. So what patterns are you doing, Pisces, that would potentially benefit the relationship for you? So that way, because if you do something differently, it's going to look weird if the other person's going to continue to do the same behavior. Not a manipulative thing, right? Because you're not trying to control what they're doing. You're trying to control yourself, right? You're just going to control who you are. You're going to control what you're doing. You're going to control what your responsibilities are and handle that. At that point, they have to be them. And if they want to continue looking weird and funky when you're being responsible and all that, then, things will set in motion for the right person to come into your life with the right mindset, right? There's nothing disputing. You still love this person. The person still loves you. The Two Cups there. There's a connection, but the balance is messed up. And the only way for things to be correctly aligned again is if you focus on what you're meant to do and focus on what you need to do at all times, and not delve into the 50. Remember, I used to talk about the 50 a lot, and I'm bringing it up again. Now that 50-50. As long as you're doing your 50, you're good. If that person's slacking on their 50, that doesn't take away from your 50. Because everybody's 50 culminates on 100% relationship. It's going to be a 95 or a 75% 75 relationship. That's not on you, because you are at least doing your part. The other person's got to chip in. If they want to be irresponsible, they want to have fun all the time, they don't want to be serious, then that's on them. That does not take away from you. That's just they're messing themselves up. But it has to come from you, Pisces. You have to see what you are doing so that way you can maintain your 50. And they mess it up, you can be right on them and be like, look, this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to change for you to be able to be comfortable staying in this relationship. Or you just go ahead and say, you know what, perhaps this may not be us. Maybe this isn't us, right? Don't be afraid to just kind of state your boundaries, state your yes, exactly. Don't be afraid to state your boundaries. No place like home, Pisces. No place like home. But No Place Like Home talks about protecting the house, protecting you. You are the home. You are the safety net. You are the place of serenity and peace of yourself. You are the only person that truly accepts you for you. You're the only person that sees what you need. You know that your lawn is messed up. You're going to go ahead and trim it. You're going to fertilize your garden. You're going to do all these things to maintain the household. Then you are the house. So what are you doing to protect the house right now? Right? You got to protect it by creating boundaries, guarding it. That's pretty much what it's all about. Making sure nobody steps on your boundaries, making sure you handle yourself. And if they want to act all crazy, then let them act all crazy. It doesn't take away from you, because you're at least you are protecting the house. Wow, action speaks louder than words. Appreciate this moment. Oh wow, you guys have a lot of cards. Focus on love. You guys have a lot of cards in here, but let me go ahead and really shuffle. Wow, new love. And it says, embrace this new opportunity of love that is here. This may pertain to work opportunities or spiritual growth. This could be a new love situation. And of course, right, if it is a new love situation, you got to give it patience too. Right? It may not happen immediately, the dynamic and understanding other people's boundaries, right? But with patience and constant correction, things will be right? But at the same time, you want to have a limit too. You don't want to constantly correct somebody, especially the person that you're deeming to be your person. If they're your person, you shouldn't have to constantly be like on their behind and be like, look, you need to be doing what you need to be doing. Why am I on you about this? Right? You don't want to babysit nobody. You don't want to babysit your partner. You shouldn't ever have to. Definitely. I'm right there with you, Pisces. You shouldn't ever have to. But of course, give yourself patience. You giving yourself patience will give the other person patience. At the same time, you got to state your claim. You got to state it known. You got to make it known. That's why the Ace of Swords is in your outcome. New truth. I kind of like that glare actually there. Actually makes that sword look a lot more mightier than the image itself shows. But that's the truth, right? New way of communicating, new way of thinking, of new ideas, right? Lots of things come with that ace, and you can implement that in your relationship and make that work. But it comes by releasing some old habits that perhaps that you may do if somebody's slacking in their 50. You gotta do you and handle you, and that perspective will spill into the new relationship, and then the growth will come with it.